Concise, balanced, unbiased.
We are live from Benin City to the world. This is 92.7 KUFM News Talk.
The time is 6:30 a.m. Good morning and welcome to News Dawn on 92.7 KUFM Benin City. First, the headlines. SANU suspends 3-week strike. Court orders interim forfeiture of Okorocha's properties. And 1,000 Edo youths benefit from Action Aid Empowerment Program. On business, Bears failed to relinquish position on Nigerian Boars. And in sports, Arsenal through to Europa League last 16. Details of these and more after this break. I am Charles Opurum. Now the news in detail. The Joint Action Committee of the Non-Teaching Staff Unions of Universities has announced the suspension of its 3-week-old strike with effects from midnight of February 26th. The national leadership of JAC non-teaching staff comprises of the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities and the Non-Academic Staff Union of the universities. The union, which conveyed its decision during a media briefing it held after the conciliatory meeting with the federal government, explained that it agreed to suspend the national strike after extracting some concessions from the government. Speaking through NASU General Secretary Peter Sademi, the union said its demands have been harmonized to the satisfaction of both parties, just as he stressed that they will continue to monitor the agreements that have been reached with timeline to ensure that the federal government implements its own side of the bargain. Adeyemi stressed that the union will not hesitate to call back its members to resume the suspended strike if the government fails to implement all the agreements reached. Justice Fred Njemanzi of the Imo State High Court Owerri has ordered an interim forfeiture of all the properties illegally acquired by a former governor of the state, Rochas Okorocha, who was in office from 2011 to 2019. The order was sequel to an application brought by a senior advocate of Nigeria, Louis Alozie. The suit had Okorocha's wife, Nkechi Okorocha, incorporated trustees of Rochas Foundation and Okorocha as the first, second, and third respondents, respectively. In a motion ex parte brought pursuant to Section 472 sub 1 of the Imo State Administration of Criminal Justice Law No. 2 of 2020, Alozie applied for interim forfeiture of the properties allegedly acquired by Okorocha illegally. The application was, among others, based on the ground that those public properties were converted to personal use by the first and third respondents and their cronies, for which the applicants now intend to recover them in line with the white paper by the Judicial Commission of Inquiry's report. Abdul Rashid Meina, chairman of the defunct Pension Reformed Task Force team, has had his fresh bail request rejected by Justice Okuna Abang of the Federal High Court Abuja. Delivering a ruling, Abang held that Meina's application for bail lacked merit. The judge said Meina was not only a flight risk but a proven risk, having fled to the Republic of Niger and Chad in violation of the court order. The judge said Meina did not place sufficient materials before the court to convince the court that he deserved a second bail. He said the medical report brought from the University of Abuja Teaching Hospital showed that Meina was not under any medical emergency. Justice Abang, who refused to grant Meina's application for an order directing the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission to release his confiscated property, including a BMW car, also dismissed his request for an order to set aside the November 18th and December 4th, 2020 orders. The court on November 18, 2020 ordered the trial of Meina in absentia after he jumped bail. Also on December 4th, 2020, the court ordered Meina to be remanded in prison custody pending the hearing and final determination of his matter. Meina, who jumped bail last year and fled to the Republic of Niger before his rearrest, had on December 24th, 2020, applied for another bail. The Edo State government has commended Action Aid Nigeria for its efforts in dissuading Nigerian youth from irregular migration. Wife of the state governor, Betsy Obaseki, was speaking at the equipment handover ceremony of the first batch of graduates of Action Aid's Dare to Hope project held in Benin City. She said the agency's support and empowerment will create alternative to irregular migration and reduce the burden of government.
So when we have people like Action Aid coming to do this work, supporting us in empowering, helping us tackle serious societal problems, like the main focus, the intervention here is with creating alternatives to migration. They have come to Edo State knowing that Edo was number one in the whole world, struggling with the problem of illegal migration and human trafficking. And they on their own decided to come to help us tackle this problem. What they're doing is a serious intervention helping us show our young people that you can make a good living here.
The First Lady of the state also blamed irregular migration on the failure of successive governments.
The reason has been, in my opinion, it's a phenomenon that has occurred as a result of failed governance, bad governance in the past. In a state or in a country where you have hordes of your citizens leaving the country and going to look for greener pastures outside. It has happened because what they need in the country has failed to provide for them. That's why I keep saying to people, you will not blame our young boys and girls who have done what they did. If we had responsible government since our independence to date, Nigeria should be one of the most developed countries in the world today, with all of the resources that God has blessed us with. But it is not.
In her welcome remarks, Country Director of Action Aid, NAOB, said the organization has been complementing the efforts of the state government in child protection, youth empowerment, and ending the menace of gender-based violence and irregular migration since 2013. She explained that the creation of alternatives to migration is primarily aimed at tackling the root causes of irregular migration by training, equipping, and mentoring youth in various skill areas such as hairdressing, fish farming, shoe and bag making, aluminum fabrication, among others.
A social empowerment for the youth is an alternative to irregular migration. We want the youth to have informed choices. We want them to be able to make up their mind whether they want to migrate or not. Because if you have skills, nobody is talking about regular migration that is going on. Nurses and doctors are going out of the country and the doors are open for them. But so when you have skills, you can migrate as you want. We don't want socioeconomic issues to be the reason why they have to go out of the country. We have seen that issues of unemployment is a push factor for migration. And so we are here in asking everyone to dare to have hope. Dare to Hope is a project.
1,000 beneficiaries, including returnees and widows from the 3 senatorial districts of the state, were empowered. Elsewhere, youths under the auspices of Nigerian Youth Union, NYU, and other coalitions on Thursday barricaded the headquarters of the Nigeria Governors Forum in Abuja, disrupted the activities, and stopped staff from accessing their office, while demanding the NGF to give attention to primary health care facilities across the country. The youths, who carried and displayed various placards led by its president, Chinonso Obasi, said they were grieved following the expiration of the ultimatum issued to the governors to ensure they give quality attention to improve the PHCs across the country to add value to the lives of Nigerians. Obasi also explained that the essence of the peaceful protest is to make the NGF to rise up and do the needful, which is the right of the electorate, and for them to leverage on the COVID-19 pandemic to revive comatose healthcare facilities in their states to help the grassroots. Niger State Governor Abubakar Bello has lamented the delay in the rescue of 41 persons abducted from Government Science Secondary School, Kagara, saying the federal government is not supporting the state government. Bello said this on Thursday while receiving the chief whip of the Senate, Senator Orji Kalu, who was in the state to commiserate with him on the abduction. He added that despite the lack of support, his administration is doing everything possible to secure the release of the abductees. Senator Kalu also observes that since the incident, the federal government should have established a national security advisor who will be monitoring the situation. At least 41 persons, many of them students, were kidnapped on Wednesday, February 17th, after gunmen attacked Government Science College, Kagara in Niger State. The state government published the names of the abductees on Thursday. The police said it had deployed additional tactical, intelligence, and investigative assets to solve the kidnapping and other related cases in the state. Coming up in the moment on our business news, Bears fail to relinquish position on Nigerian bourse. Details in a moment after this break. Stay with us.
1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 600 billion, and the last kobo. Oh yes, we follow the money. It's all about the business and the business of business. The gains and the losses. The bulls and bears. The rise and falls. The risk and the satisfaction of seeing the last kobo rise to millions. On KUFM's Business News, the simple and complex jargons of business just make sense. Get the trending news on the morning market, forecasts, investment opportunities, policy changes, and other breakout information. on the ever-busy world of business. KU Business News, Monday to Friday on our news dawn, 6:30 to 7 a.m.
Welcome back. And on business, Nigerian bourse ended the fourth trading session on a negative note. Nigeria's all-share index depreciated by 0.31% today to 40,095.49 index points. Year-to-date return on market capitalization settled at minus 0.43% and 20.97 trillion naira respectively. A total volume of 326 million units of shares valued at 3.71 billion naira exchange hands in 4,567 deals. Across coverage sectors, the performance was mostly negative as most tracked indices finished south. The NSE banking, consumer goods and oil and gas fell by 1.44%, 0.79% and 0.15% respectively. On the flip side, the NSE insurance improved by 0.24%, while the industrial index closed flat. Investor sentiment, as measured by market breadth, was negative, with 24 decliners and 14 advances. Lasaco led the laggards today by minus 9.68%, while Chams finished as top gainer with plus 9.09%. Nigeria's Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, has given updates on how the country successfully exited its second recession as Presidential Communication Team holds maiden edition of State House briefing. Zainab Ahmed says implementation of economic sustainability programs contributed largely to Nigeria's exit from recession. The finance minister said the federal government sourced for funding from development finance institutions, International Monetary Fund, Africa Development Bank, Inter-American Development Bank, and others to reflate the economy in the face of the coronavirus pandemic. She said President Muhammadu Buhari gave a major target to bring down inflation to single digits. The Minister of Finance said the largest contributor to inflation in Nigeria is food inflation. And that's it on business. Over now to sports, where Arsenal are through to the Europa League last 16. Stay with us. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang scored a dramatic late winner to help Arsenal beat Benfica 3-2 on Thursday night and 4-3 on aggregates to reach the last 16 of the Europa League. In a home leg played at the Karaiskaki Stadium in Piraeus, Greece, because of COVID-19 restrictions, the Gabon international opened the scoring to give the Gunners a 2-1 aggregate lead. Diogo Goncalves leveled for Benfica just before halftime with a superb free kick after Dani Ceballos had needlessly fouled Julian Weigl. The Spanish midfielder compounded that error after the break with a poor defensive header that saw Rafa Silva race clear to put the visitors in front. With Arsenal needing 2 goals to advance because of the away goals rule, Kieran Tierney's low drive set up a grandstand finish before Aubameyang rescued the tie in the 87th minute. Mikel Arteta's side will discover their last 16 opponents in Friday's draw in Nyon, Switzerland. In other results, Rangers walloped Royal Antwerp 5-2 and 9-5 on aggregate to progress, while Slavia Prague knocked out Leicester City after a 2-0 aggregate win at the King Power Stadium. Manchester United qualified 4-0 on aggregate despite a goalless draw with Real Sociedad, while AC Milan advanced on away goals rule after a 1-0 draw and 3-3 on aggregate. And finally in sports, former Arsenal, Barcelona and France striker Thierry Henry has stepped down as manager of Major League Soccer side CF Montreal for personal reasons. The 43-year-old, who was recently on the shortlist to become the new manager of Championship club Bournemouth, had been in charge since November 2019. Henry said it was with a heavy heart that he was leaving after an extremely difficult period away from his family. He said he was unable to see his children due to